Is everybody okay? Yeah, good. All right. We have work to do today. I'm waiting for the thing to come. This is the button. Oh, there we go. Okay. We have 60 minutes together. And in this time, what we're going to do is try to turn you into a possible non-teacher and make you into a teacher. Okay? All right. So, I want you to think about a great teacher in your life. It's not hard, is it? It's fast. Can you think of somebody? Okay. This is my great teacher. His name was Mr. Keenan, and he was my 10th grade English teacher in Denver, Colorado. And I just remember him because he cared. Maybe he wasn't the smartest guy. To me, he was. Maybe he wasn't the greatest teacher, but to me, he was. The reason that I think he's the great teacher is he was enthusiastic. He wanted to be there. He cared if we learned. He cared if we did our homework. He worried about us. At one point, it was so strange, he pulled me aside and he said, "Come here, I want to talk to you." Oh, what? And he says, after school, we're going to have a grammar class. I'm going to teach English grammar, which we didn't learn very formally in the United States. And he said, "I want you to be there." Like, grammar? Why would I go to a grammar class, you know? And I didn't go. But he already saw my future, which is really strange, isn't it? And I was only 15 years old. So I remember Mr. Keenan, and I love him very much. One thing I do remember is that he did not come into class and say, "Good afternoon. Please open your books to page 42. Okay. Does your great teacher do that? No. Okay. So we need to remember who your great teacher is, because that is your role model in many ways. Okay? Okay. You might not be an English teacher in real life. I want you to, we need the lights really quick. I want you to raise your hand if you are an English teacher. This is very good. There's about 7 or 8 of you, okay? Raise your hand if you are a college student. Okay. Raise your hand if you are a lawyer. There's a few of those. Engineer. Oh gosh. Architect. Wow. Graphic designer. Okay. So our engineers, graphic designers, architects, all of that, and university students, and we have about 7 English teachers here. Okay, the 7 English teachers will know exactly what I'm talking about the whole time. The rest of you, not so much, but you will all be English teachers when we're finished, okay? So you might not be an English teacher in real life, and so your big question is, I'm going into the classroom, what do I do? Is this your fear? Do you all feel this? Okay, I'm a native English speaker. I'm from the United States of America. Donald Trump is my president. It's the worst. It's the worst. Okay, I'm sorry. But then I look around Brazil and I'm sorry too. So none of us are very happy. So what do I do? When I started teaching, I was about 25 years old. This is what I looked like then. And I had a very, very big fear on my first day of class. Okay, I was really nervous. What do you think my big fear was? Any ideas? The students, what was I afraid of? If they'd ask me a question, you know what, do you guys mind if we turn the lights on? No, because I'm going crazy with that. I feel like, hey, that's better, yeah, now I can see. What would I be afraid of? Huh? Now it's straight on you. Is it straight on you? Okay, so is there something in the middle? No. All right, put it straight on me. But before we do that, really quickly, what do you think I was afraid of? That what? That they don't like me. That what? Silence. Their silence. Yeah. I wish I were that smart. I wish I were that worried. We could turn the lights off. Okay. Maybe if I go over here, I'll be happier. How about if I stand here? Oh, I'm very happy right here. Oh, that was easy. Okay. So, what was my biggest worry? Will they like me? Will I be a good teacher? Will I present the material effectively? Will I come off as professional? It was none of those things. I was so nervous the first day of teaching. Do I stand or do I sit? That was as good as I could do. I couldn't, the rest of it was way too deep for me. I was so scared. And so I learned that you can stand and you can sit. And now that I am a professional teacher, this is what I really do in class when I teach. You look at me and you say, she can't. Well, she can. She can. All right. So basically, I understand what you feel, and that the big question of, will I be effective? Will I change the future of Brazil? Will I change the life of this student? Those are good questions, but they might not be the biggest worry that you have right now. Your biggest worry is, what do I do? Okay, so we're going to figure that out, okay? And so you're probably very nervous. Do you feel like this a little bit? Yeah. All right, so I have really good news for you, which is you have a teacher's book. If you are going to teach English, this comes with your teaching, okay? I'll tell you why this is the big good news. You're like, why is that big news? Okay, well, when I started teaching, okay, I thought that the teacher's book was the answer key to the activities. So I didn't ever look at it. That's all that is a bunch of answers. I'm a native speaker. I can figure out the answer. It's not a big deal. And then I changed jobs, and I became an editor of English language books, okay? And then I became an author of English language books. And the result of that was that I saw what a teacher's book is. And it is an answer key, yes, it is an answer key. And it is, how could this be something this fat be only answers? It's not, okay? So, what is it? Oh, by the way, I have worked for all of these companies as an author or an editor, and I did get to see a lot of types of teachers' books in the process. I don't write teachers' books. That's the one thing I don't write. I hate that, but I don't know why, but I'm like that way. But, and all of these publishers, what I have discovered is that they are all very different. They work differently, they have a hierarchy that's different, they have bosses that are different, they have goals that are different, but there is one thing that they all want. What do you think that is? To keep the students. Again, I wish. They all want money, right? Yeah, it's true. I was working in a restaurant once when I was younger, and the boss called us and said, at this restaurant, what are we doing? I said, serving good food. No, we're making money. Oh, okay. So, but how do they do that? How are they going to make money? How are these publishers going to make money? They are going to make you happy, okay? Forget the students, forget the parents. If the teacher doesn't like the book, you're not going to want to use it. Sometimes we have to use the book, we have to use, but for the most part, they do every single thing they can to make the teachers happy, okay? So if you sit here and you think, well, what do I need to be happy? You need a lot of things as a teacher to be happy. You need help, true help, and the publishers know that. And so they give you that help, okay? So when we get back to the question of what do, I can tell you that this is a very, very good question. These are my students, and we're training our students at Monte Azul. I don't know if anybody else is doing this, that when they graduate, they become teachers. If they go through the entire program, and I think it's like Turma E or Turma H, they start becoming English teachers, and we teach them. And these are some of the students that have graduated and become teachers themselves. And they're asking the same question, what do? I've been here for 6 years, 5 years, 4 years, but I don't know how to teach. I know how to learn. You're going to use your teacher's book. That's what you're going to do. So you say, well, what do I do? How do I do it? I don't know. I'm not a teacher. I'm an engineer. I'm scared. I don't know. Use your teacher's book, okay? And I'm going to tell you how, all right? It's like a map. A teacher's book is a map for you. It says you're going to start here, and you're going to go along here, and then the class ends, and you're over here. Teacher's book tells you how to do that exactly, okay? First of all, Tiziani, we need your help. Where is she? She's doing something. Rafael, come here. This is a hard job, and not just anybody can do it, but I think Rafa can do it. Okay, it is interleaved. What does interleaved mean? Do you know? I'm going to show you. Look here. Here we have, well, almost, okay. This is Unit 9 of our book, okay? Can you see Unit 9? Here is what is in the students' book. The students get this in their book, and they get this. This and this is what the student sees. Okay, their book is much thinner. This is in the middle of a teacher's book. What is this paper? You look at exercise 1, and you go over here and you say, oh my God, exercise 1, what is all of this? Oh God, what do I do? You look over here and they say, start with a warm-up activity. Ask students a question about what they do in their free time, or this times have changed, what they used to do that they don't do now, something like that. They will tell you right here how to begin. And then ask students, they tell you step by step by step, ask students to look at the pictures, maybe. Okay, what do they see in the pictures? Elicit from your students what they see in the pictures, possible answers. It's there, okay? Now ask students to read the categories. I'm inventing this. Ask the students to read the categories. What do they think? Elicit from them what they think they're going to read about. Now ask them to read about the past, for example, okay? Now, and you do this activity, and all of a sudden, you're not an engineer, you're not an architect, you're not a graphic designer, you're an English teacher, because you look like you know what you're doing, right? If you read this, and you read this, students don't even know you have this paper, okay? And I always do this. I get here and I say, now turn the page, and they're like, turn what page? Do we have to go, So I'm turning the page, they're not. They're just going here. So, and then you're finished with this one. You do everything here, and then you go to the next one. Ooh, conversation, that's progress. What is that? I don't know. Okay, it's all here. It tells you what to do. Do this, 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 do this. You're a teacher, kind of, okay? Is that clear? Okay, so thank you, Rafael. Thank you very much. Everybody, let's clap for Rafael. He's so, all right. Okay, so it's interleaved. So you have the student's book page, and then you have your instructions. What do I do? Okay, it's easy enough, right? Does that make you feel better already? Yeah, that's good news already. Cambridge University Press is going to make money because you guys are happy, right? Everybody's happy now. Okay, so when do I do that? When do I look at that stuff? You could look at it during class. You ask your students to look at page 42, and then you quickly read and see, what do I have to do? I have to elicit from the students. Elicit, what is this about? What are we doing? We could do that, right? And I will confess that I have done that. Okay, it's not fun. It's not fun to be desperate. It's not fun to be ill-prepared. Or you can do it the week before. What do you think is a better option? Yeah, this looks better, doesn't it? Right? So you look at it the week before and you say, okay, this Saturday I'm going to teach, or I'm going to teach in 2 weeks. Now let's look at the lesson that I have to teach. I have to teach page 42, 43, 44. What happens here? Okay, I'm gonna, okay, let's read here. And I'm gonna ask the students to look at the pictures. Well, what's in the pictures? Oh, okay. What is this class about even? Okay, so you get yourself oriented to what you're doing, and you read it, and you're prepared so that when the class starts, you look like this as a teacher, okay? Inside of a teacher's book, you have that interleaved page. You also have some other things. I might have a problem. If I put, oh God, I knew I would do that. I'm sorry. I'm looking for the little, is there a little, yes, I found it. Okay, ready? Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I do this every time because I don't know this clicker. Look, I really ruined everything. I destroyed my life. Okay, here we go. Am I dramatic much? Yes. All right. There we go. Woo woo. There, right there. Good. Thank you. I'm sorry. I will never do it again. Never. All right. What else do you have in a teacher's book? You have the interleaved thing that says, do this, do this, do this. Often in that section, you have your answers. It tells you, okay, you got this far. Now the answers the students are going to give are right there. They're written right there. You also have the learning objective. What are we doing? Why are we doing this stuff? Why are they reading about the past? Oh, because we're going to teach the past tense verbs. It tells you why we're doing this. What is the objective of this class? It's important for you to know why you're doing and what you are doing, okay? It tells you warm-up activities, something that you could do before you say, okay, open the book to page 42. Before you do that, let's do something fun together so that we get thinking in English, we remember what we learned in our last class, we think about the vocabulary, we think about the topic. It has a CD, or it has access to the audio files so that you can listen to the pre-recorded audio material when you have a dialogue, okay? It has, in the teacher's book, ideas for games. You don't have to think of all of this stuff by yourself. Who can do that? Okay? It has ideas for games. It has ideas for things that you can do outside of the book. It has ideas for things that if we want to work in pairs. It doesn't just have to be a teacher-centered class where I talk and you listen. No, let's get the two students talking, working together. It gives you ideas about how to do that, what to do, how to do things in groups. Okay, let's work as a group. Get outside of me and work as a group. Yes, it gives you the answers. It gives you sometimes music, songs that you can listen to on that CD or whatever, the audio file. It will give you music and then a little activity sheet that you can do to follow the song. Some of them are often old 1980s songs, but that's okay, right? Right, okay. And it gives you sometimes online activities that they can go home and do online, and it gives them tests. It gives you tests. You don't have to write your own tests, okay? What I've also discovered is that sometimes at the back of the book that I use, there's a page that says Review of Unit 9, and it has a list of all of the vocabulary and all of the language and all of the grammar and all of the things that could possibly be on the test. So before a test, usually at the beginning of a unit, I make photocopies of that page and I give it to every student. I say, this is our unit. You need to know this stuff. Not now, because we have a couple weeks to learn all of this stuff, but before the test, we'll look at this again and see if you're ready. Most of the teachers I teach with don't know that's there, okay? We have to look through our teachers' books and get familiar with all of the things that are in there, okay? Well, one more thing is that it's not just on the interleaved page that you're going to find all of the things. You're going to find there's a big fat introduction. When you buy a new hairdryer, do you read the manual? No, nobody does that, right? Do it. This is your hairdryer manual, okay? It seems ridiculous, but there is so much information in there at the beginning, at the end. There's extra activities. Everything is here. It's amazing what is in here. But if you don't look, you don't see, you don't know what's there, okay? So you're going to use your book it gives you a clearly thought out program. What do I do? When do I do it? It's a wide and interesting range of material, okay? We could talk about, as I have, weddings in Japan. What do I know about weddings in Japan? Nothing, but the book does, okay? Great navigators, Henry VI of Portugal. What do I know? Nothing. Okay, I wrote a book about that, but it's in there, crazy stuff, so that even like the engineers are happy, the architects are happy, the guys who like cars are happy, the people who do there's lots of stuff. It gives you security. If I follow this, I will be secure. It gives you work that students can do together on their own. Again, we don't have to have a teacher-centered class. I talk, you listen. That's not a great class, is it? It's what we're doing now. Sorry. But it's not the greatest class. We want the students talking together. We want them working by themselves. And it's a source of practical teaching ideas. It gives you lots of ideas of things that you can do. A basis for comparison and discussion. You seem to be studying and you seem to be understanding it, but he doesn't. Why not? What is the problem here? So we can look and see, am I teaching too fast? Am I being boring? Is there something I need to do to help some of these students? Okay? It gives them homework. Oh my God, homework is so important. Okay? Homework is so important because 3 hours a week of English is not enough. It is not enough. Quickly, let me tell you what I do with my students' homework. They hate me because of it. I say, okay, you have this homework. If we have extra time, I say, let's look at page 42, our homework. Look at the workbook. Okay? They get their pencils out. I say, put your pencils away. Oh, but it's our homework. I know. Yeah, you're going to do it at home. But we go through the activities talking. We don't write. If there's time. That's how I do their homework. So I use those activities as an extra thing that we can do in class. And then when the teenagers go crazy because they just want to do it and be finished. And I'm saying, no, we're here to learn, and you can remember this at home, okay? And finally, it's a way to pass your class on to the next teacher. You will not teach every week. So you need to be able to tell the next teacher, we did page 42, 43, and 44. You need to start in the middle of page 44. This guy had trouble with some of the vocabulary. She did not. So we need to make sure that everybody's there and that they're looking at the vocabulary before we begin. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, and another good source of help is Pró-Mundo itself. They have some stuff online. They have ideas online. They have ways of helping. Google Drive. Your other teachers, the other teachers, the coordinator at your school. If you are having a problem, they are there to help you. And I'm serious, they will help you. They want success. Okay? So you're going to use your book. Do you already feel better? Yeah, you should feel better because there's a lot of stuff in that book, okay? I want you to use this book. This book is your best friend as a teacher. However, same thing as however, but we are preparing our students to do certain things. We are preparing them, for example, to pass the ENEM. Okay? We're preparing them for university life, possibly going and studying abroad. We are preparing them for their jobs. Maybe some of them are having classes with us because they've been told, you have to learn English to grow in this company. You have to learn English to get the next position. You have to be able to answer some emails in English. Okay? You've all heard this story, right? Right. So we're preparing our students for their professional life, and we are also preparing them this is another version of a professional life. We're preparing them for lots of occupations, and we don't know what they're going to do. We cannot control what our students are going to do with their English. We're also preparing them to travel and see the world, okay? This is a picture of my daughter, Natalie, about 10, 15 years ago when we were in New York, and we went across the Brooklyn Bridge and took pictures of her with other people, and they never understood what we were doing. I said, can I take a picture of you? You want to take a picture of us to take a picture of you? No, her with you. Okay, we had a lot of fun. It was a good English. Okay, we're preparing our students to travel, have fun, and see the world. Okay? What I don't like, and I've seen this happen too many times, is that you say to a student, so how are you? And they get, oh, what page is that on? How are you? Okay, what did you do last weekend? Oh God, what page is that on? You know, get them out of their book. Get them out of the book. The book is great. The book is going to be a huge help. And every class you have to do X, Y, and Z in your book. There's a program you have to follow, or the next teacher won't be able to do what he has to do or she has to do. Okay, you have to do it. But as much as you can, pull them out of their book. Tell them, close your book. Let's think about something else. Let's do it a different way, okay? Get them out of their book because I hate my students when they're stuck on their book. Okay, we're in the book. We're in the book. What do you, use your mind. This is your book right up here, okay? All right. Now, at Pró-Mundo, those of you that are English teachers are going to know what I'm talking about. There's about 7 of you here. Raise your hands again if you're an English teacher. You have a huge, huge luxury when you're teaching at CPME. Why? What is the huge luxury? You have 3 hours. Okay? Most classes, most English classes at most are 75 minutes. This is 180 minutes. That's huge. That's a huge thing. That's as good as having some jewelry for Christmas. That's as good as having your own private airplane. That's as good as taking a nap on Saturday afternoon. This is huge. 3 hours is a long time. And if you're a beginning teacher, you go, that's too long. What am I going to do for 3 hours? Oh my God, 15 minutes is enough for me. No. Once you get into it and you read your teacher's book and you see all of the ideas, you see 3 hours is great. Okay? Why? Because in 3 hours, you have time to actually talk to your students. How are you doing? You were having problems with your father last week. Is everything okay? How's your job? You were worried about something. My job's going great. God, you won't believe what happened this week. You have time to talk to your students. They have time to talk to each other. You have time to actually talk. Those of us that teach in situations where we have to do that same amount of material in 1 hour are very happy with 3 hours. You have time to play games, okay? I play games with my students every time I teach, okay? I think it keeps them motivated, okay? You have time to do all of the listening comprehension activities. Listen to the dialogue. Oh, by the way, the first time they listen to a dialogue in their book, do it with the book closed. So they really have to listen. What was that about? Oh, I don't know. One guy's going on a trip. No, he's not. He's not. Nobody's going on a trip. They said New York. No, something else. Let's listen again. And then you give them one question. What are they going to do? Listen again. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Now let's listen again. Where are they going to do it? That kind of thing. So that they listen. It gives you time to actually do listening comprehension in an intelligent manner. You have time for the students to do presentations. Maybe go home and do Japanese weddings. I want you to go home, and by next week, you're going to do a presentation about your parents' wedding, about your brother's wedding. Show us some pictures. Tell us what happened, what was there. Use the vocabulary in the book. You have time for this now. This is a big luxury, okay? You have time, this is crazy, to check their homework. I hate it. It's so boring. But they do their homework. I find that my students do their homework and they want feedback. I don't like doing it. I think it's boring, but it's important because if they did it, they need it to be corrected and to be fixed and to find the mistakes, and it's a way of seeing how they're doing, okay? So my personal feelings about it are not important. It needs to be done, but you have time to do it. You have time to do dramatic productions, maybe. Okay, you can do some, it has never looked like that in any of my classes, but it could. You have time to do something with music. If your students like music, you have time to prepare a song. My students will often ask me, what is the new song on the radio? What is that about? Well, next week, I'll bring in the lyrics, and we'll look at it and ask them to listen for 5 key words, maybe. Teach the 5 words, and then every time you hear one of those words, you write it in the song, and then when it's finished, maybe you translate it, maybe you explain it, okay? You have time to do that in 3 hours. And you have time, when you have to, in normal English teachers know that we have to go from A to B in one class, A to B. With 3 hours, you can go from A to B in a more creative way, a more happy way, a happier way, a more fun way, and everybody's a little bit happier, because I think most of our students, many of our students at CPME, actually, in my experience, haven't had a lot of experience with really good teachers, with really motivated, excited teachers. Some of them have had some, yeah. I mean, we all have a good teacher, but many of them have sort of negative, big classroom kind of learning experiences. And so when they can slowly go along and talk about things and ask questions and have it explained and explain it again and explain it again, let's do it a different way. It's a big privilege for the students too, okay? So teaching is no fun. I hate teaching if you are not prepared. You don't know what you're doing. You didn't plan in advance. You're confused. Teaching is terrible when it's like that. What are we teaching in this class? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Okay? When you look like this in a class, teaching is no fun. Would you agree with me? Yeah. But it is fun if you are planned and prepared. And you'll remember me, and you will say, yeah, she was right. I was planned, I was prepared, and it was fun. Okay? So you're going to get the stuff a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance. Talk to your co-teacher, the other teacher. What are you going to teach? What part interests you? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? I was thinking we could do this song. Oh, that song isn't so good. I have another song. Good. Let's do that song. And then I was thinking that game that they have, the students aren't going to like that game, so let's change it. And when you start discussing it, by the time you get to class, you're so full of ideas and so full of stuff that you're ready to do that teaching is really fun, okay? And if you stand and if you sit, those become irrelevant questions because you're so prepared for what you're going to do, okay? Now, missed this one. Now we're going to have some teaching theory really fast. This is not as boring as it looks, okay? What is PPP? This is important in teaching theory. Anybody? Okay, I'll tell you. Presentation, practice, production. What do I mean? When I am editing a book from somebody else and something isn't right, and I look at it and I go, what's wrong here? It's usually that they're trying to practice something they haven't presented. So when we learn anything, the first thing we do is we're presented with the idea. We see a boy tying his shoes and we think, I want to tie my shoes. We see somebody reading a book and we think, I want to read a book too. We see somebody else doing it. We see somebody reading to us. We see somebody in the Pilates studio doing that and say, well, how do I get there? Not by beginning there, but it's a presentation. You see it, and somebody says, I'm going to read it to you, I'm going to explain it to you, I'm going to show it to you, which gives you time to say, I want to learn that. And then you get it. This is the presentation part. One way that I do a lot of vocabulary presentation is with flashcards. Okay, you know what flashcards are, right? So you say, well, where do I get flashcards? Okay, number one, if you're super rich, you could buy them. Okay, they cost like 500 reais a package. They're very expensive. So if you're rich like that, I'm not, you could buy them. You could adopt a book that has them. This is with little kid books, they usually come with that, but most books that we have don't at CPME. You could make them, and I'll show you some cards that I have made. To sew is a verb. I made this card. It takes forever because you have to find the picture, you have to print the picture to the correct size, you have to cut it, you have to glue it onto the paper, right? Is there another thing that we could do? The fastest and best way to have flashcards for vocabulary in your class is that the students make them. Okay? Basically, you have pieces of paper or cards, and you say, here's one for you, 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 here's one for you. Here's your word, 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 here's your word. Draw the picture. I don't want that word. Okay, then change with her. I don't care. Change. Okay? But we're going to have these flashcards, and you have 2 minutes to draw the picture. I can't draw, but I can still do good enough. I'll show you some that my teenage students did. What is that? That's Camila's lamp. It's good enough, right? She's 14. It was a good enough lamp. What's that? It's a closet, right? First, he didn't put Evandro did this, and he forgot to put the wall. And I said, well, that's an armario. We need a closet. It's embutido, right? So you need to embutir. So he made these little walls around it, which is pretty good. So we know what it is. You knew immediately what it was, and he did it in 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, okay? So you can ask your students to make them, and it's quick, and they feel happy because, oh, there's my card. Oh, there's my card. I'll show you a card that I made because I can't draw. What's that? That's a thing. I was teaching them bed, and they kept saying bad. And I said, no, bed. And they couldn't hear the difference, so I made a bad bed. And that is truly a bad bed, isn't it? Who would want to sleep there? Nobody. So that's my bad bed. I did it in less than 2 minutes. Imagine that, okay? So you can make your own flashcards, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes what to do with flashcards once you have the flashcards, okay? Then you need to practice. Now you've presented the vocabulary. Now we need to practice the vocabulary, and that happens in the book. They teach some words, and you see it again, and then you see it again, and then you see it again, and then it's in the homework, and they see it again, and we talk about it, we ask questions about it. That's a way of practicing it. And finally, when that's finished, they should be able to produce the word. In other words, use the word in a conversation. Use the words when they're writing, okay? That's production. That's PPP. And that's how it's done. If you do it out of order, for example, if I show you this flashcard and I say, what is that? We're not having a fun class, are we? Because you don't know what this is. Because why? Because I did not present the vocabulary first. So I'm doing it out of order, and everybody's confused, and they don't like my English class. If I present this first, I show you, I say it, knit. This is knit, knit, knit. What's this? That was better. Wasn't great, but it was better, okay? All right. So then we have the 4 skills. This is the second part of the teaching theory, and then we're finished, okay? Promise. Okay? The 4 skills. What are the 4 skills that every book tries to get students to learn? There we go. I heard some people getting it. Listening, speaking, reading, writing, okay? I live in São Paulo. I speak Portuguese, not perfectly. I'm fluent. I am not accurate. I'm fluent. Which of these 4 skills is most important to me in my daily life here in São Paulo? No. Listening. Because how many times have somebody asked you in English, how old are you? And you say, I'm fine, thank you. I do that kind of stupid stuff every day. It's awful. Okay? So if you don't understand what you're hearing, your answer isn't going to be right. So the most important skill is listening, which is why you're speaking English in the classroom, why we're taking the time to do the listening activities, why we're paying so much attention to, like, close the book and make them listen first. Listen for some information first. They have to learn to listen. One thing I have also discovered in my years of teaching is that particularly Brazilian students don't like to listen. And what they want is, like, for example, you're listening to me now, but if I start an activity, you and me, okay, we're going to do an activity. Everybody else, I don't have to do anything because she's talking to her. She's not talking to me. I don't have to pay attention. And they start looking at their phones, they start talking to each other, they start doing anything else, and then I say, but what I'm talking to her about, I'm going to talk to you about. So it's going to come to you. Oh, well, when it comes to me, I'll learn it. No. Listen to me talking to her, and listen to her talking to her if that's the activity. Listen to the group. So they've got to learn to listen, okay? The next one, what do I need? If I can listen, what is the second most important thing in Portuguese I need? You ask me a question, I have to answer it, right? Right? But the most important thing is that I understand your question. And I don't always understand. A lot of times I kind of go, I do that thing that you might do, like, pois é. You know, that, pois é gets me a long way. You're like, pois é. Okay? The porteros get in the elevator with me and, pois é. It's a good one. Then what do I need? Do I need to read or do I need to write? I need to read. And probably you might feel what I feel, which is your writing in English is probably the weakest of the 4. My Portuguese writing, if I have to write in Portuguese, okay, I can, but I don't feel very happy or very confident. I feel like, I sound like a 3-year-old when I write, okay? So in the classroom, you're going to teach in this order if possible. Students, particularly high school students, often think that reading and writing is the most important because that's what is stressed in their schools. But at CPM, it can be the opposite, which is that listening and speaking is the most important, which is what they don't get in their classrooms, and which many of them have not gotten in real life, the opportunity to listen and to speak. And this is so, but your book will present you, and you'll see it here, with all of the 4 skills. Okay, so you already, if you go to a teaching conference, can sound like a teacher. You can say, oh yes, well, I use a book that has the 4 skills, and all the other teachers will go, the 4 skills. Okay, you sound smart because you know what this is, but this is important, okay? Finally, you need to have fun with your students. And Renata stressed this while I was sitting there. She said, it's coming in and just being bored and not being prepared and not really caring and not really being very interested and looking at your clock. Are we almost finished? Oh, God. Okay? It's really much more fun than that, and it can be much more fun than that, okay? So, one of the ways that we have fun in my class is that we play games. I bring games from home. You have games at home that if you can make them into a pedagogical thing, that's good. So set, apples to apples, sorry, Monopoly. Teach them, as long as you can make it teaching sound. We don't play games just to play games. We play games because we're going to learn some numbers. We're going to learn to count. We're going to learn to deal with money. We're going to learn to read something. Okay, then we do it. This is a really good one. You play against the board, but I'm too old to remember the rules, so I can't do it. And there's a game that I play with my students called Around the World, and they love it like crazy. So you say, okay, we made those flashcards. We have the flashcards. What do we do with the flashcards? You can sit there and you can go. You can sit there and you can go, all right. What's this? Okay, good. What's this one? You can do that, okay? But you can do it much more interesting. Can I have 5 volunteers? Come on. 5 people, come here right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is she a volunteer? She's going to the bathroom. She's going to the bathroom. 4. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Have a seat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more. Yes. Okay. Sit down. Everybody can sit down. You're all going to sit. Okay. Scoot over. One of you, you're standing. You're Caio? Yeah. Come over here. You're going to stand behind her chair, okay? Now, when Renata was talking about when we teach, we make mistakes. I made a mistake this morning because I have a sick dog at home, and I got all messed up. And I forgot to bring my flashcards, the correct flashcards for this activity, so I made a mistake. So I would use these flashcards, but I have not presented the material yet, so they will look and feel stupid and be unhappy. And so I'm going to not use flashcards, although normally in this game I would use flashcards, okay? So let's say that we have learned the numbers in English for beginning students, okay? They've learned the numbers, and now we're going to play a flashcard game. I would put the numbers on the flashcard, or I would put maybe mathematical equations, and we play Around the World. My students love this game. They could play this for 3 hours and never stop, okay? Okay, just you two. Pretend I have a flashcard, okay? I don't because I'm not prepared, but we're going to make it work anyway. I'm going to say a mathematical equation. The first person to say the correct answer travels around the world to the next spot, and then you two will compete, okay? Okay, ready? 17 minus 5. Good. She's up. You sit. Now you two are going to compete. Okay, you go here. Okay. 14 times 2. Woof. Okay. 63 divided by 7. 9. See, we have a queen. We've got to kill her now. You ready? 2 plus 2. Did you let her? Okay, come on. Come on, you have to compete. Okay. 12 times 10. Go. Are you an engineer? Oh, okay, come over here. Killer. Have no mercy. Do not let him kill you. Okay, there's a big competition now. Okay, ready? 90 minus 17. Is that right? 70. Oh, so did someone. Who answered the question right? It's not 63. It's 73. Okay, don't count. You're in trouble. Okay, ready? 90 minus 15. No, 15. Do you know? Go, let's go. Get her, and you don't be nice. You're being nice. Don't be nice. Okay, ready? 7 times 4. Okay, come on. Thelma. 6 times 3. Did you let her? Go then. Thelma's up. Yoo! Okay, not that we want to see your defeat. You ready? Okay, 20 minus 7. 13. Good. Come over here. Okay, ready? 13 times 5. 13 times 5. You got it. You're up. Okay? So you see how my students could play this all day, particularly if you have vocabulary flashcards. You can use the flashcards from this class, from the class before, from the class before that, from the entire semester. If you and your teachers, your co-teachers get together and you have a big stack of them, stick them in that folder that you have, that you share, okay? And you can do it that way. So when we get back to here, we're finished with this game, okay? Whoever gets here is the big winner. You might be you. Okay, come on, Kayo. 28 plus 17. You're up. Okay, here we go. You're like, yeah, I knew that. Okay, ready? You're over here. 70 minus 15. God. Okay, every class has one of these, okay? 12 times 4. Okay, so let's have a big round of applause for our volunteers. All right? All right. This is what if you have your flashcards, here's something fun that you can do. This is what my students want to do every time. When we have, and sometimes my daughter, who's a teaching student and I love her, but she doesn't agree with me. Sometimes with the more advanced students, instead of having pictures, I just put the word in Portuguese as we're talking. Like one of my students says, I work with the government and we work in public policy. How are you going to draw a picture of policy? Public policy. So I asked for translation. Como é que é public policy in Portuguese? Como é que é? Políticas públicas. I write that in Portuguese on the back, and then I write public policy on the front. I show them the Portuguese. Políticas públicas. And that's their flashcard. Some people will say, don't do that. You can never do it with Portuguese. But sometimes with more complicated words, you could do that, okay? And then you play around the world with public policy and all kinds of technical vocabulary also that they're trying to talk about. I asked for volunteers. Do the math, PPP. 20 questions. I play this a lot with my students. Do you play this game? Yes. 20 questions is a really good game. I'm thinking of a famous person. You have 20 questions to guess who it is. I can say yes and I can say no. Who's going to be Hafa? You're the number person, okay? You count. When we get to 20, you tell me, okay? Who has a question? I'm thinking of someone famous. Is it a male? No. No, not Brazilian. You can also have a note taker, which then the person stands there and says, female, not Brazilian, okay? Is she a singer? No. She's sometimes on television. Is she a what? Scientist? No. Don't make faces. Huh? No. She used to be. I shouldn't say that. Okay. Is she married? Yes. Okay, if you say the name and it is not, you lose 2 points. So be a little more, do you want to guess Michelle Obama? Or do you want her to ask a question that is more specific? More specific. So think of Michelle Obama and ask me another question. Is she black? No. Is she what? Is she Obama's wife? No. Huh? Was she married to Clinton? No, and I don't think Hillary Clinton was an ex-model, but okay. What? Is she Donald Trump's wife? Another question before that is, do you like her? No! Yes, is Donald Trump's wife, what's her name? Yeah, my father calls her Melanoma. Melanoma Trump. Okay, yeah, so how many was it? 11. All right, very good. You guys did great. So you think of someone famous. Now, what are we doing here? We're playing a game. But you guys were not worried about if you make a mistake. You guys were much more interested in who is it, who is it, who is it, who is it, than I might make a mistake if I ask a question. You didn't, were you thinking that? No, we're thinking who is it, and I'm going to ask questions. Another thing, for our students to ask questions is really good because particularly in Portuguese, you don't do much to change the structure of the language to ask a question. Ela é a mulher do presidente. Ela é a mulher do presidente. Okay? There's no structural change, but in English, it does change. You have to have do you, does she, did she, will she, is she. Something changes there. And so they have to get a lot of practice with questions. So it's a good game for that. Okay? So remember this game. Remember around the world. We have another game. Grandma is a strange one. You have a version of this in Portuguese. She likes something, but she doesn't like something else. Okay? And then you have to figure out what it is. Okay? So my grandma, and the good thing is, the question is, does she like? Which Brazilian students hate. They want to say, she likes? That's not a question. Does she like? She likes? That's not a question. So, does she like? So I'm going to tell you, she likes baseball, but she doesn't like soccer. Do you have a question? Does she like? I didn't give you much information, did I? Okay. She doesn't like potato chips, but she likes bread. Does she like pizza? No. Does she like what? Jogging? Chocolate? No. She likes basketball, but she does not like hockey. She does not like swimming. No, she doesn't like tennis. She does like bowling. Does she like sports? No. But she likes bowling. We got someone who's getting it over here. Any others? Does she like boys? Huh? Boise. Riding. What? Riding a bike. She likes part of it. She likes the riding she doesn't like. No. She likes bikes though. To what? To fly? No. Does she like what? She loves bananas. She likes Brazil very much. She doesn't like teaching. She likes boys. My grandma likes boys. Where are we going with this? Come on, you guys are getting it up there. We're getting it down here. What is it? Could someone else, are you getting it? Ask me more questions. Yes. She loves basketball. Again, you're not worried about your English. You're trying to figure this out. Okay? Yes. She likes things with the letter B. Okay, so we've got it. She likes baseball. She doesn't like soccer. She likes basketball. She doesn't like hockey. She likes things that begin with the letter B. Okay? So she likes, maybe my grandmother likes things with 2 legs. She likes chickens. She doesn't like dogs. She likes humans. She doesn't like fish who have no legs. Okay? All right. She might like things with 3 syllables. It's very complicated. She likes bananas. She doesn't like pears. Okay? Help me. Okay? She might like things at McDonald's. She likes hamburgers but not hot dogs. She likes French fries but not onion rings. Okay? It gets you, the purpose of this is your students have to ask good questions. And when they don't ask a good question, if they say, she likes hamburgers, you go, well, and then they're like, answer me. And I said, well, when you ask me a question, I will answer you. And then they're like, okay? So does she like, okay? 4-letter words. She likes boys. She doesn't like girls, okay? She likes things that are red, possibly, things that are blue, things that are round, things that are fast, okay? Maybe she is not born yet, which makes you manipulate. I'm going to have a baby. Did you know that? Impossible, but I am. Let's talk about my baby. Will your baby like? It's a way of manipulating grammar. So now we're going to do the future tense. Maybe she has died. My grandma, she died last year. She liked bananas. Did she like? They're manipulating the grammar. Maybe she is not here right now. If she were here, would she like? It's just a way of playing with grammar, but it forces the students to use new vocabulary, new grammar. Have you ever played coffee pot? This is a game I played that you have to have more advanced students. It's kind of hard, okay? So, to coffee pot is the verb. I'm going to think of a verb. You have to guess what verb it is. Okay, let me think of my verb. Okay, go. So you're going to say, do you coffee pot at home? Do you coffee pot in the bathroom? Are you coffee potting right now? Did you coffee pot yesterday? To discover what my coffee pot verb is. Go. I try to coffee pot every day. I usually do. Do I coffee pot at school? I don't go to school. If I did, I would not coffee pot at school. I would not. Some people do. Do I like to coffee pot? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Would I coffee pot if I didn't need to? Probably not. It's not that fun. Yeah. No, that's weird. Yeah. Is it healthy to coffee pot? Yeah. No, again, that's weird. Wouldn't do it. Huh? No, not really. Well, if you're really prepared. But no, not really. Sometimes, usually, but not always. Yes, sometimes. Not always. Kitchen. In the kitchen, sometimes, not always. Do I get money for coffee potting? No, that'd be weird, okay? Sometimes, yes, sometimes. Sometimes you pay more, sometimes you pay less. Depends, but you always pay. Well, no, you don't always pay. If I coffee pot at someone else's house, no. Does a newborn coffee pot? In a way, yeah. Do I use credit? Do I use what? I'm sorry. Read it. Ingredients. Ingredients. Do I use ingredients to coffee pot? Yeah, do I need to cook to coffee pot? Yum, 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 yum. Someone does, a little bit. Sometimes depend. Cook, no. Time of day, that's important. Time of day. Yes, a coffee pot in the morning. Use your hands. Yeah, you need your hands. Well, yeah, if you were in the hospital and you couldn't use your hands, they'd figure that out. But yeah, you use your hands to coffee pot. Yeah. Coffee and milk is part of my coffee potting. Almost. What is it? Have breakfast. Okay, I call eating. So do I get paid to eat breakfast? That'd be good, but no. Okay. So this is taking that thing of asking questions, manipulating your verbs. It's pretty hard for intermediate students to do this, but they can do it. It's just another way of taking everything that you've learned in a class and using up that last 15 minutes in a fun way so that the students actually come out of the class feeling like they like it, okay? So, are we clearer on this question? Do you guys feel better? Really? What do I do? Okay, what do? You've got your teacher's book. You're going to plan in advance, talk to your teacher, your co-teacher, get everything ready, be super excited to finally get there at class and use all of those ideas, and you're going to have fun because you will have fun. Trust me, okay? So most of all, and the most important thing is that you're going to learn to love your students and they're going to learn to love you, and it's going to be a really good experience for everybody. Every single kind of teacher that's in this group and in my teaching group, and everywhere that we go at Monte Azul, has a different style, has a different way of presenting material, has different interests, brings in different kinds of materials, and the students love the variety, and they all love the students, okay? So with that, thank you very much. We're finished.